Welcome to Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Lisa and Mr. Ruben. Alrighty then, let's just do it. Take a listen to episode 1 of season 6. We're calling it 5 A's Towards a Healthy Relationship. Listen to this relatable, transparent segment of Miss Lisa and Ruben.
Hello. Welcome to Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. How you doing, Miss Lisa?
I am doing great, love.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was wonderful. How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, my Thanksgiving was wonderful. We won't talk about what. Why are you smelling me like you did lean against me and sniff my arm? What are you sniffing?
Not sniffing anything.
Okay, y'all. She's sniffing my arm and she's saying she ain't sniffing anything. Okay, y'all.
So how was your Thanksgiving? You were saying?
My Thanksgiving was better than it was last year.
So we're in the holiday season, full throttle. And that in and of itself can just create so many obstacles for any relationship, whether it's a new relationship, an established relationship, a long-standing relationship. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I know if you're not careful, meaning that if you're not keeping your mind on the success of your relationship, i.e. making sure that home is okay, whatever home is, woman, kids, making sure home is okay. And plus making sure that you're okay as well, that you're taking care of home. From a man's standpoint, I think everything will turn out okay now. If things get a little rocky, hopefully you guys have already had a plan before Thanksgiving, before family come to the house and all of that.
It goes back to communication. If you're in a brand new relationship, I think it's vitally important that the two of you discuss holiday plans. Maybe the relationship is so new that you're not ready to bring in the family element. Or maybe you've reached a point in a relationship where, this is where you want to introduce that person to your family. Either way, I think it requires some preparation on your part. Because you know how families can be. You walk in the door with someone and, there's always that inevitable question, who's this? When are you guys getting married? Are you guys living together? Are you moving in together? Lots of inappropriate questions coming from loved ones.
And that's a scary thing, when you for the guy, maybe for anybody, because you hoping something don't get said from family that would embarrass you in front of the one you just decided to bring to your family Thanksgiving dinner. Even if you kept a clean record with everybody, somebody's going to have something to say to throw it off. So
communication is key. And if you're not at that point where you're ready to take that special person home to meet the family, then I think it's even more important to have that discussion. Maybe you're so new, you just want to have separate plans. You go visit your family, I go visit my family, because we got 2 more holidays to roll through here. Either way, I just say that communication is key so that everybody knows the expectations, especially if your family has certain traditions or certain things they like to do around the respective holidays, so that your significant other, new partner is well aware of those and they know what to expect. So people are not blindsided. But just working to maintain our relationship is just a continual feat. So I was pedaling the other morning.
Before you go there, so if you didn't make it work on Thanksgiving, you still got another chance on Christmas.
And New Year's.
That's what all the guys out there. And New Year's too? Oh, okay.
New Year's is coming up too.
Yeah.
So again, we got 3 major holidays in a row here. So, certainly, if couples aren't agreed not to be together for Thanksgiving because, that's where you have, I would say, the majority of family involved, then, certainly talk about what are your plans for Christmas and definitely what are your plans for New Year's.
And then nobody talks about the 4th major holiday after New Year's is Valentine's for the fellas. That is it's like preparing for a wedding. Anyway, I don't want to scare y'all.
So New Year's.
There's 4 major holidays after Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah. But either way, just talk to each other about what the expectations are. So as I was about to say, just continuing to focus on working to maintain a healthy relationship. I was pedaling away, and I came across this internet article.
Well, who said the what?
An individual named David Rico wrote a book called How to Be an Adult in Relationships. And in this book, he talks about 5 key elements of healthy relationships.
I bet not ever catch David Rico doing some trouble.
So he calls them the 5 A's. The first one is attention. The second one is acceptance. The third is appreciation. The fourth is affection. And the fifth is allowing.
So for our podcast listeners, Miss Lisa, are you validating these 5 A's?
I am discussing these 5 A's. I think
Oh,
that
so you don't back them?
I think that they are very interesting. They give you pause. So let's start with attention. Attention is about giving your focused attention to your partner. And certainly, we're in the holiday season, especially ramping up to Christmas, and, things are very busy. We're busy working, we're busy shopping, we're busy cooking, we're busy wrapping presents. So, we might not be giving that special someone all of the attention that they need, deserve, or desire. So we have to bring that back into focus and make sure that we are giving the love of our life that attention that they need.
So how you bring it back into focus after you lost focus?
Well, it can be, I say, and Mr. David says, that it goes back to focusing on your partner, making sure that you're being that active listener when he or she is talking to you, that you are fully engaged.
So do the things you used to do.
That you're making eye contact, that you put your phone down or away if you're having that conversation, and that your full attention is focused on that person.
Okay.
So acceptance, number 2, is about being accepted in our totality. And I think this goes back to an earlier podcast where, we talked about, you are accepting me just as I am. You're not accepting me and then saying, you need to lose 20 pounds, or I don't like the way you dress, or now you wear too much makeup, or why don't you wear your hair differently?
Oh, well.
You accept me just the way.
Don't rub my gut when you say that. Don't rub my gut. She rubbing my gut when she say that. You don't have to accept me. Somebody else will like what you don't like.
Oh, my goodness. So, all right, Mr. Rubin.
You lost your place?
Again, acceptance is about getting to that place where you let go of needing your partner to be a certain way and accept them, flaws and all.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can both be safe to be who we are without experiencing judgment or shame.
Well, how do you consider someone have a flaw? Or you haven't really gotten to know them well enough. Or let's say you feel you got to know them. How do you discover that someone has a flaw that you just say, okay, well, I'm just gonna accept that flaw? Who are you to say somebody has a flaw that don't agree with you? Unless you're saying, well, that's not one of the things that's on my list, but I'll go ahead and accept it. That puts it in the mind of settling. If someone has a flaw.
Everybody has flaws.
Well, exactly. That's why I don't understand why people have lists. Well, I want this kind of man. I want this kind of woman. But then you face enough loneliness and see everybody passing you by, getting married, everybody partnered up, and you only one. You go to the movie theater, you're the only one sitting alone. You go to a restaurant, you're the only one eating alone.
Well, maybe that's because some people think that they don't have flaws.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. So don't point out anybody else's flaws. Even the Bible say, before you tell somebody about that speck of wood in their eye, take that piece of lumber out of yours.
That is true.
Because God already knows that kind of stuff happens.
Well, just as He accepts us just as we are, we should be willing to accept each other
as they are,
as we are,
but without labeling it as a flaw. Well, he got a gut, or something wrong with her, the way she move around. Does that really matter? Is that really the person? Do my gut design me who I am? A person's flaw. It's not a flaw to them because they still living with it and doing it. It's a flaw to you because that's not on your list. Because you paying attention to about the toothpick in their eye and you got a 2x4 in yours.
So the third one is appreciation.
Oh, okay. We're moving on to the third one.
It's essential to hear and feel appreciated. And I don't know, I think this is probably a big one.
That's a lot of work.
Appreciation is one of the key elements that actually sustain a relationship, according to
that go right along with one of the other A's you said in the earlier podcast. Affirmation is appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true. If you ask me to do something and I stop what I'm doing to go do it, it will make me feel better about it if you say, "Well, thank you, baby, for doing that for me." Other than you not saying anything like, "Okay, he's supposed to do that."
So again, appreciation can take the form of acknowledgement of talents, of skills, of being noticed.
I'm just giving y'all the skinny
your
on the
partner.
book that she spelling out to y'all. She's spelling out the book to y'all like a school teacher. I'm telling y'all the backstory, the real life story of it. You believe what you want.
So the next A is affection. which can be expressed many different ways. In our words, it can be expressed with hugs, with kisses, with notes, with text messages, with bringing home flowers, completing projects, speaking up for the other person when they're overwhelmed or unable to do something for themselves. Affection, so very important in a relationship, helps you both to reconnect.
Is that what he said in his book?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
What are your thoughts, Ruben?
Well, you say help affections. That's why I asked, did he say that? He said affections help you both to reconnect. I don't know if you have become disconnected from my experience that affection can help you reconnect. Because affection may mean if you've been disconnected in a certain amount of time, affection could mean that you came back and affectionately just had sex. And then after sex, you're back to where you were before sex. I think it takes affection, yes, but it takes some real deep loathing of yourself and loathing of the situation and become as humble as you know how, where that person is feels drawn in. And once you're drawn to each other, that's when affection seals the deal. But if you're not drawn to each other, you can't force affection. You can't just be affectionate and think that's going to be okay. I'm going to show him or her affection, and that's going to fit anything because since we disconnected. Okay, what happens when a disappointment when you show affection and then your affection is denied because you're disconnected? Whenever there's a disconnection, there's some deep rooted meaning behind that. And affection can't fix that.
Well, but I think these things are just he's posing that these are some simple things that we should strive to do all the time in our relationships to keep the relationship healthy.
Well, yeah.
I mean certainly.
So is this book about maintaining a good relationship, or is this book about retrieving a relationship after it's gone bad?
The book is about how to be an adult in relationships. So I haven't read the book. Okay, I only read these 5 A's that were listed.
Standards are, okay, you're about to be in a relationship. Here you go. This is how you do it. That's what he's saying. It's not. I'm already, for the people that's already out in a relationship, that's been in a relationship a while, and now they having trouble and don't know.
No, it's not about that. That's not what we're talking about. That's something totally different.
That's where I was going. That's where I was coming from.
I mean, that's just a whole different ball
game.
Because
there's a real element when you lose your way in a relationship and don't know your way back.
Well, maybe if you were utilizing some of these things,
right.
you wouldn't end up in
obviously that wasn't being utilized, and nobody read his book at that time.
So we're at the point where we're offering, hey, here's some things that somebody said that might work on a daily basis. It's simple stuff.
You got a bad case scenario on my end, a good case scenario on Miss
Paying attention to your mate.
That's not an A.
Accepting. Attention is an A. Accepting. Being accepting of him or her. Letting that person know that you appreciate them. And again, it's not to say that has to be something that's done every single day, but it can be done in many different ways, spoken and unspoken, so that people know that they are appreciated.
Yeah, because we do it every single day. It's going to start sounding phony.
And then allowing is simply allowing the other person to be themselves.
That's a big one right there. That's a huge, because if a person being themselves, but they're not aligned with the budget in the house or the structure, how we have the structure in the house, how we say how everybody's going to live, supposed to live, or what happens outside the house. If that person don't have any of that, then like babysitting a toddler.
Okay, you lost.
Well, yeah, I know I did. Go back to what you said, and you'll find what I was talking about. Make the statement you said earlier.
Well, I mean, you're over in the danger zone again. Allowing someone to be themselves, okay? But if you discover that person being themselves is an undisciplined individual,
and not up to par,
that's another scenario that you have to.
So you found
have to deal
That's
with.
what I was talking about. So you found it. That's what I'm talking about. And then so that creates a whole new creature. So now you got this structure that you're both living by, but this person seems to sometimes have no clue where you are, and you constantly having to remind them, "Hey, we're right here. This is what we agreed that we'd be doing." And they got distracted, which most times is a reason. What?
Is a reason for what?
Nothing.
Well, I'm trying to relate.
You're relating. I just dive in real deep for anybody that's some deep thinkers out there that question anything and everything that we're saying. So I'm just laying out scenarios that I'm familiar with. And because I know there's that person out there, since it happened to me, it happened to them. So I was just laying that out. Hey, man, don't linger on that. What she's telling you from this book is the way to go. I've been where you are. Don't get lost. So I was laying out the traps out there. I was laying out places you can get lost. You even got lost. But you found it when I told you, hey, go back to your statement. Go back to what opened up the question. So that's who I'm trying to relate to. The guys out there that were like this, that they're ready to turn this whole podcast off. Oh man, they ain't talking about nothing. And we really are. What you bring to the table is really super, super important.
My goal is to learn how to have healthy relationships. There's all kind of knowledge out there. So when the kind of things that catch my eye are simple things. You know, sometimes we do forget to show people how much we appreciate them. Sometimes we do forget to be accepting of people the way they are, because we do all have flaws. Sometimes, especially in new relationships, you know, we don't want to allow that new person to live their life. We want to be all consuming in their life, and that's not realistic. You know, this person had hobbies, they had other friends before they met you, so it's not realistic for you to not want to allow that person to continue those pursuits because you are now in the life. It's about blending and melding those two lives together. So I'm sure you probably know of guys that have broken up with women because the woman just wanted to be the center of their whole life, and they didn't feel like, you know, they couldn't go hang with the boys, they couldn't do anything because this woman wanted to be with them everywhere and in everything, and that's just not realistic. That's crippling.
But it's not just women that do that; it's men
No,
that do that.
it's not.
You know, and we call those needy people. They even label themselves. I heard somebody on the earlier program we was watching saying that's who they are. They labeled it. What is it? I forgot the phrase. It wasn't attachment, but you know, they clingy. Clingy. That's the phrase. They label themselves clingy. It's like a piece of dryer sheet. When you take the clothes out of the dryer, them dryer sheets hanging on to that clothes. Them clothes. You got to go through and pour them dryer sheets, depending on how many you put in the dryer. And I put a lot of dryer sheets in my dryer because I like my stuff smell fresh. But when I pull them out, it's like, oh man, I gotta go pull out. And sometimes I put my clothes on. There's a dryer sheet on my inside my shirt. So that's clingy. People are like that. You give them something they never had before in a relationship, or you show them something, or you just doing the right thing, just showing them love. You're appreciating them. Well, because they may have never received it, or even if they have received it, they used to receive it. They don't want you to go anywhere. They want you around them 24/7. They don't care in what capacity. They just want you there, and they want to be all over you. That's those, and then they can't stand it when you got to go to work, when you got to go do whatever you got to do. They want to know why can't they be a part of it, and it comes to the point where they hate to go to work because that means time is taken away from them being free. I'm like, baby, go to work. You know, I'll be here. They're clingy. Those are clingy people, and it's nothing to be to beat them up about, or nothing for them to be ashamed of. You know, that's everybody ain't clingy like that, but when you do run into a clingy person and you call yourself really into them, well then you honor that clinginess. Now sometimes it gets annoying. You just want to be alone. Here they come around the corner and then they all up on you. And you're like, oh my God, I just want a little time to myself. And you fighting to keep from hurting that feeling. Baby, baby, can I have just 5 minutes, please? Even saying that, you're hurting their feelings. So you try to just grin and bear it. Okay, I'm reading and they just jumped in my lap. Okay, let me just roll with it. What you doing? I'm reading, but I'll stop doing it right now. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. You know, you baby it, but don't baby it too much, because you can find yourself in a situation where you take it so much where you just go off in the middle of nowhere, and they don't know what came. And then when you do that to them, they become like Godzilla. They're no longer cuddly and clingy. Now they want to destroy you, all of you. So you got to be careful with that, you know. So when you got a clingy person, that's when you set your boundaries early at that time. Don't be trying to set your boundaries later. Set your boundaries early, and that's been a fault of mine. I haven't set my boundaries, and whenever the call came, I ran and thinking, you know, I'm gonna be Superman in the relationship, and then it was wearing me down, like to the point where I'm tired. I can't come tonight. No, I can't. So you love them, but they're just too darn clingy. But that's not their fault, nor yours. If you want to stay with them, you learn how to cope with that. Because everybody has a person that they were clingy on. If you haven't met that person yet, you keep on living. So, and it's really, if you look at the big picture, it's nice to be adored. But like I said, if they ever see a side of you where you're tired of them being clingy, oh, they can switch like a light switch being turned on. You got all hell breaking loose on you. So if you don't like that, call it early. Hey, now, call it after the first date. It was nice. That first date was nice, but I don't think I don't think we have anything in common. Call it early, because if you don't, You may as well get ready for chaos, because if you cancel after you're committed, that's just my experience. Y'all, everybody can say what they want to say about it. But clinginess, I think it's a real loving thing, as long as it's not really just overbearing. When they want to come in the restaurant while you're doing a number two, now that's just, you need to call 911 and have them committed. But if they just happy to see you and they giving you your space, they see you doing something, they ain't just jumping in your space, what you doing every minute. Then that's they got a tank. They clingy, but they got a tank. They know they can be overbearing, and they try not to do that. But it's because you can get caught up in a trap where, oh, it's so nice to feel needed. It's nice to feel needed, but nobody wants to be feel needed 24/7. It's something. One of those always. Can you hate me at least an hour? That's just real life relationship. Oh, the older you get, that ain't for them young bucks out there. They don't know what I'm talking about. But the older folks,
So we started this podcast talking about
the AAA.
the 5 A's.
Oh, it's 5A.
Just some more information to add to your tool belt.
So go through each A once more without going through the description.
Attention,
Attention,
acceptance,
acceptance,
appreciation,
appreciation,
affection,
affection,
and allowing.
allowing. That last one, you're gonna allow me to do what? I got your permission to do what? Oh,
It's not about permission.
no, but that's what the phrase allow. And if you go to dictionary and read allowing, it'll tell you it's demanding. So that phrase allowing, he was just trying to stay with the age. I understand what he was doing, but you don't allow anybody to do anything.
It's
That's-
not allowing the other person to do something. It's
It's
allowing
yourself to let them do it, which is the same aspect. You have to allow yourself to let someone go to the, let's say, just hypothetically, you have to allow yourself to let someone go to the restroom by themselves.
Well, I don't think going to the restroom
Well,
was
I just say,
part of it.
I'm just reasoning with what allow means. Whatever that person wants to do, because you have a problem with that person doing it without you, you have to talk to yourself to allow yourself to let that person go do something without you. That's why I got a problem with that phrase.
Well, those were his 5 A's, but
Well, I
even
know,
within the A's, there's some good stuff. Remembering to appreciate one another.
Oh,
Again,
yeah, the rest of
being
them I ain't got an issue with.
accepting of each other's flaws.
I ain't got an issue with the rest of them. That allowing thing is a little bossy. Even if it's allowing back to yourself. Well, I'm doing this. Let me woosah and allow. Tell myself I should allow him or her to go do whatever they say they're gonna do, even if it's without me. That's a little.
Showing attention to your partner and affection, however you see fit. So
Yeah.
certainly not. It's not the all in be all. It's just some more food for thought
Well,
to
you know,
throw out there
I
for
think it's
everyone.
I think it's good for them newlyweds out there. I don't think that'll work in a marriage that's past 5-10 years, but I think that's good for the newlyweds.
Well, I don't know why not, because, maybe people wouldn't be getting divorced after being married 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
That's why I said
If they
if
were-
newlyweds had that in their bag when they go in, then they ain't getting a divorce in 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
If they were still showing affection to each other, if they were still showing attention to each other, if they were still being appreciative of each other.
You got to truly make sure you really in love and really like the person that you decide to spend the rest of your life with, because life will give you a twist. Like you see this person day in, day out. You're witnessing all their bodily functions. They're witnessing yours. You're witnessing all their shortcomings. They're witnessing yours. And then on top of that, you got to focus on being affectionate every day. That's why I said, that kind of stuff won't come until 5 years into a relationship, 10 years, where you love your woman's dirty drawers or your man's dirty drawers. You pick them up with your hand when you see them before.
Well, on that note, I have nothing more to add.
I'm just being funny with that little jokey joke at the end. No, I ain't mean to overshadow the 5 A's. Those are good things to focus on. When you reach a certain age, it's like, okay, well that's automatic. But that's good for people who don't know it. It's helpful. It would have been helpful to me early on in my relationship if I knew those. What year did he write that book? Okay.
All right. Well, happy dating.
Oh, that's in here? Okay. No more? Oh, we through with that? The A's and love languages, we through with that one too?
Well,
We did that a couple of episodes ago.
yeah, it's another tool for the tool belt.
Well, guys, we're getting ready to go on the cruise in December. So we're looking forward to making some very exciting episodes on the cruise. We're gonna even let y'all into our cabin.
Really?
Yeah, and it'll be the bedroom
Oh
part
my
two.
goodness.
The bedroom part two in the cabin on the cruise. Yes, sir. And so you know that's gonna be serious. So we're looking for that bedroom part two on the cruise. And y'all let us know. I'm not able to see the comments yet, but I'm sure I'm working on it where I can see them. So y'all let us know which episodes y'all like the most, and we can focus on those because we got a lot of literature we can go through and let y'all know what we think about them and see if y'all can relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. If you can't relate with them, well, that's fine. But if you can't relate with them, let's have a conversation about it. Let us know how we're doing because we're doing this for ourselves, but we're also doing this for y'all too. So until next time, you good, Miss Lisa?
Yep.
Happy dating, you said?
Yep.
Y'all know what I say. Date happy. Till next time.
Join
Bye,
us
folks.
again for another transparent, exciting, and opinionated episode of Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Okay, family, happy dating.